Alright, Schlockmeister fans, from the Erotic Classic Collection, this is Naked and Lustful, La Danue. Let's check it out.
I really mean it.
Oh, for Christ's sake, here we go again.
Forgive me, not tonight. Tomorrow.
Oh, children. They're beautiful. Especially when you've got everything you need to raise them.
This is Jean-Paul.
Yeah, but what's the use of having so much when your wife can't keep a kid in her belly for more than 3 months?
His wife, Francois, is having trouble getting pregnant.
Gentlemen.
Speaking of Francois...
Mr. Forrester brought these flowers for you.
How sweet. Thank you very much, darling.
You're back to my favorite color. Looks very
You think
nice.
so? I was wondering what you'd say.
They try to make another baby right there in the living room.
The examination also. Jean-Paul, say something. Do you realize what's happening to me, to the two of us? We won't be able to have children. I'm not going to bear a child ever.
So what's the next step?
We must find a solution. I want a child.
And what makes you believe I don't want one?
Well, let's try to adopt a kid.
On one condition, that we be really, really patient.
Substitute.
They look for a surrogate also.
A substitute. I give my sperm at the hospital. And the doctor does the transmitting. We never meet the girl.
And vice versa. All right.
Well, that's what they do.
Yes, so?
Tests are positive.
I'm a father then?
You must be discreet.
Of course, doctor.
The surrogate woman is pregnant with his child. She decides to fake a pregnancy, so they're going to tell all their friends that they're pregnant.
I would like to announce that my wife, Francoise, is expecting.
Oh, very good.
Anyway, while making love to his wife, he starts fantasizing about another woman. He keeps thinking about the woman who's pregnant, even though he has no idea who she is or what she looks like. Intrigued, he decides to break into the hospital or the doctor's office or somewhere where he can find the records of the person whose sperm... And there she is. Whose sperm was given. He finds out the woman's name is Sylvia and he seeks her out. She's in Amsterdam, 300 miles away. And she's smoking while pregnant.
Sure.
She's a bartender.
What are you looking for?
No one. I'll see about it later.
He doesn't tell her who he is.
It's funny, but...
That is Rutger Hauer. A few decades later, he'd be a hobo with a shotgun. But right now, he's just hitting on Sylvia. Jean-Paul goes back to see Sylvia a couple more times because he's kind of infatuated with her. He and Sylvia kind of go out on a date. Jean-Paul's getting a little cozy now. She has a son. And he likes kids. He still doesn't tell her who he is, and she's not telling him that she's pregnant. Anyway, he has to say goodbye all the time because he lives several hours away.
Psychiatrist.
Francois asks him, "Where the hell have you been?" His response is to basically assault her in the kitchen. This is Francois' dad.
You brutalized her. That's right.
Ah, so she told you I brutalized her.
She didn't give me all the details. It's the way that you went about.
He works for him.
You went about.
Fucking her, Mr. President. Fucking her. Yes, I made love to my wife because I felt like it.
Your manner is far from normal.
He yells at Jean-Paul, but
Why don't you accept
they make
little
peace.
approaches from her occasionally? From time to time, be a little more.
Why Daddy knows about their sex life, that was beyond me.
That's just the point. No. No, sir. There's work to be done, though. Let's not forget. I'm going to go around and visit some of our clients. There's a few little details I need to work out in the hotel we've just built on the Caribbean.
That's a splendid idea. That way, Francoise will be able to stay a few days with us. Her mama will love that.
So Jean-Paul jets off to the Caribbean. Oh, and he takes Sylvia with him.
You will have a beautiful golf course. Great, huh?
Yes, great.
But why do you want it changed? This countryside is so calm.
You think your absurd behavior.
Sylvia has a great nude scene, which I can't show you, where she jumps into the ocean completely naked.
Huh? Jean-Paul, your manners are beginning to bother me.
Nonetheless, they've fallen in love with each other.
I am absolutely indifferent to your status. I love you, that's what counts. Oh, I feel so very happy.
They've got some angry workers there.
Furnace is running, so we want some more money. We don't want no trouble, Mr. Jean-Paul, but you gotta understand. You see, our salaries haven't gone up for over 2 years, and that just ain't fair.
More lovemaking on the beach.
The child, husband. That one.
Apparently her husband is estranged.
You've got the right to know. Drunk.
She still hasn't told him that she's pregnant,
He
though.
always finds me. He's bitter and malicious. Got 5 years of jail for an unsuccessful holdup.
Sylvia, I didn't dare tell you that I wish time would just stop there. There on our island, so far away. We'll go back there, Sylvia. I'll take your little boy. I'll know how to be a father to him. You even told me that you wanted to get away from your husband, and that was why you needed money.
So the old man is retiring.
To announce to you that he is retiring from his functions as president of our corporation, and that he is naming in his place Mr. Jean-Paul Le Forester, who has contributed extensively to the progress of our industries.
In an unusual move, after getting the presidency, he calls Sylvia from the boardroom.
Sylvia, it's Jean-Paul.
Jean-Paul,
Yes, it's me, Sylvia.
Right in front of her father-in-law.
I love you.
you're not being serious.
It's very serious. I love you. I love you. Yes, I love you. I'll be there in 2 hours to kidnap you. We'll go anywhere you'd like to go. Far, far away, Sylvia. We must never, ever part.
Needless to say, he declines the job.
Mr. President, I leave you with your industries.
But Sylvia wants to have an abortion.
There's only him. You know, I've never loved any man so much before.
What do you want me to do?
She wants to be clean and free to be with Jean-Paul.
You must help me. I don't have time to go to a clinic.
So she has a back alley abortion. Jean-Paul never told her that she was pregnant with his child. Well, back at work, she has some sort of reaction to the back alley abortion, go figure.
What happened to Sylvia? Take care of her. Well, somebody get her a glass of water.
And she's rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. They never actually tell us what's wrong with her. But we then see some footage of surgery.
Love you, Sylvia.
Jean-Paul goes to see her in the hospital, post-surgery.
You once said to me that the horizon's always blue because it should be.
And when you know it, she flatlines.
Sylvia? Sylvia? Sylvia?
So she's dead? A strange turn of events. But what about her son?
I'll take you to your grandmother's. And there, I'll stay with you. We'll be happy together. I'll talk with you about your mama. She'd want us to stay together. Oh, you sweet little man. Shall we go?
Yes.
Come on.
So I guess this absurd movie has a happy ending? Alright, let's talk about this movie called Naked and Lustful. It's directed by Jean-Marie Palardy, who starred in this movie also as Jean-Paul. I've reviewed a few of his movies. He made all kinds of these French erotic films. I don't know if this one's erotic or not, but anyway, interesting here. It's called Naked and Lustful, otherwise the original title is La Donneuse, which translates to The Donor. So anyway, the back of the box here, it says it's 74 minutes. Now, I looked online on IMDb, and it says there's 2 versions of this movie. One, a 74-minute version, and 2, a 90-minute version, which is X-rated and filled with porn scenes. They inserted some hardcore stuff for this French version, apparently. When I put this DVD in, even though it says 74 minutes, I don't know if you can see that, it actually said it's 100 minutes long. So I was like, what the hell? This is longer than even the longer version. So I'm thinking, okay, I must have the X-rated version plus 10 minutes even more. But no, there's no X-rated stuff in here. Yes, there's nudity, but there's no hardcore stuff. There's no insertion or anything like that. It's just typical nudity. And I don't know. So apparently there could be even a longer version somewhere. It's strange that although this is apparently uncut, it says 74 minutes. That's wrong. Anyway, the movie itself, it's an odd film. We have this guy named Jean-Paul. He's married to Francois. He works for her dad's business company. He's like second in command. Anyway, they've been trying to have a baby, and she gets pregnant, but then apparently she miscarries all the time. And eventually it's discovered that she cannot have a child. So then they say, well, maybe we should adopt a kid. And then he decided to look into a surrogate instead. So he'll donate his sperm, and it'll be implanted in some woman. They'll never know who the woman is, and then she'll have a baby. They decide, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll tell all our friends that I'm pregnant, and then I'll, once I get close to birth, I'll go to Switzerland or something, and then I'll come back with the baby. So everybody think I'll have the baby. Whatever, right? So anyway, he is really intrigued by who this woman is. So he breaks into the doctor's office and finds out who her name is. And her name is Sylvia, and she lives in Amsterdam and works there. So he's somehow able to track her down at her place of business, which is she works as a bartender. And now he walks in, and she strikes up a conversation with her, and the two of them actually hit it off. He's very intrigued that she is actually with his child. So he starts to think, maybe I should be with her instead. We could be like a family. Well, he doesn't tell her who he is, and she doesn't say that I'm pregnant. They just keep going through their lives. Well, he keeps visiting her, and they end up dating, and they go out, and they fall in love with each other. He takes her on a trip to the Caribbean. And then they decide they're going to get married, or they're going to spend the rest of their lives together, even though he already is married. I don't know how that's going to work. She's married too, by the way. She has a husband that she's estranged from. So anyway, she decides, well, if I'm going to be with him, I cannot have a baby in me. So she decides to have an abortion. Not through a clinic, though. She goes to some guy she knows and says, hey, give me an abortion, which I guess can happen in Amsterdam in 1974 or 76, whatever. So anyway, she has this abortion, but it's botched somehow, and then she collapses at work, and she's got some sort of serious medical issue now. They take her to the hospital, they work on her, Jean-Paul shows up, and she survives the surgery, but then while he's talking to her, and she's very weak, she flatlines, she dies. He walks out of the room and is greeted by her son, who's there, he's like maybe 10, and says, she would have wanted us to be together, so they walk out hand in hand as if it's a happy ending or something. End of story. Anyway, it was a really weird movie. Obviously, I showed you that Rutger Hauer was in this. I read something online that Rutger Hauer said he's never even met the director. The director just kind of used the scene that he was in. But that's bullshit. He was clearly in a scene, and he was kind of flirting with the waitress here, Sylvia. So anyway, Rutger Hauer is in it. I showed this scene there with a little mustache. So anyway, Naked and Lustful. It's from the Erotic Classics collection. I'll leave a link from Amazon down below. There is some good nudity in this movie from Biba Lancourt, who is the wife, as well as the mistress Sylvia, whose name is Willeke Von Amelroy, something like that. She's beautiful, and she has full frontal nudity too. So anyway, there's some good nudity in here, and that's what you're looking for. Check it out. It's a pretty cheap DVD. It's like $13 if you want to buy it. So link it, buy it, and then watch it. Let me know what you think about it. Naked and Lustful. Watch it. Bye.